You don't need any props, but come to kneel on your mat. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Take a nice big breath, inhaling wide to the side. And then exhale, feel your ribs draw in towards one another. And then exhale, expand. And inhale, draw them towards one another. One more time. And exhale, and then curl your tailbone under, round your spine up towards the ceiling and drop your head. And then sit back onto your heels into a child's pose, and then walk your hands away from you a little. Rest your forehead on the ground, and then feel your sitting bones lengthen down towards your feet. And take a nice big inhale, again wide to the side. And then exhale, feel your ribs drop down towards your thighs. And then inhale again, and continue to feel them drop. You can bring your knees wide too if that's more comfortable. And keep feeling your sitting bones lengthening down towards your feet, and your chest lowering now towards the floor or towards your thighs, depending on how wide your knees are. And one more time, up. And then exhale, feel your ribs draw in and your abdominals draw in. And then pull your hands, keep them pressing into the floor, but feel them draw back towards your knees, and then start to lift your chest, keeping your gaze down, feeling that stretch through your mid-back, like you're gonna pull your chest through your arms like they're a goalpost, and then press your hands away and then round your spine back down. And then keep drawing your abdominals, or keep your abdominals engaged, drawing your ribs towards your hips a little so you're not starting to lift through the hips. And then press back through your hands, lower down, and then one more time. Lift your chest, lift your collarbone through your arms. Neck stays long. And then lower all the way back down. Walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. Keep reaching back through the right side of your body, towards the wall behind you. And then with your fingertips in opposition. And then up and over towards the other side. The left sitting bone reaches back behind you, left fingertips reach away in the front. One more breath. And then come back to the center and bring yourself onto all fours yet again. And then from here, you're just gonna tuck your tailbone under, just rounding your low back. Your upper back is gonna stay in neutral. And then bring your sitting bones up towards the ceiling and widen them, lifting your sacrum up towards the ceiling. And then again, just round the low back and then widen the sitting bones as you lengthen your low back. And then again, round through the low back. Neck stays long. Think about the crown of your head reaching towards the wall in front of you. And just drawing your ribs, or your hips rather, towards your ribs, and then creating a little bit of space, but still that general connection. One more time. Lengthen through the low back and arch a little. And then find a nice neutral position. And then bring your right arm out to the side. And then just sweep that right arm underneath your left arm. You can bend the left arm and reach it around. And then just lay your right shoulder on the floor. You can reach your left arm out ahead of you if that feels good. But keep reaching your hips back behind you equally so you're not sending the right hip back. And just take one more breath here. Feel your ribs connect toward your hips. Slide your left hand back. Reach up and then reach your right arm out to the side again. And then here you're just gonna reach and rotate, lengthening through the ribs and then bring it back towards the right side. So you're staying up, your left arm stays straight. You're really just rotating through the spine in that left shoulder, and your hips are gonna stay nice and square. Last one. And then come back to the center, plant your right hand. Extend your left arm out to the side, and now you're gonna thread your right hand or left hand underneath your right arm, and then reach that right hand out to the top of your mat. You can press down with your right hand and think about using that to help rotate your chest open towards the side. Hips press back evenly. One more breath here. And then find that connection between your rib and your hips. Slide your right hand back, press yourself up, bring your left arm out to the side, and then twist and rotate through the spine over towards the right side, and then square yourself off in the center. And then again, twist and bring it back to the center. Keeping that connection through the front of your body, your sitting bones reaching back behind you. Trying to get your upper spine moving maybe a little bit more than it has all day. And then come back to the center, place your hands down, and now you're gonna round your spine up towards the ceiling, drop your head, feel those hips draw up towards your ribs, and then uncurl your spine one vertebrae at a time. Bring your gaze towards the front of your mat, and then find that connection between your ribs and your hips in your neutral spine, and you're gonna extend your right leg back behind you, and then point through the toes, and then float that leg up, and then tap it back down. Thinking about opening through the front of your hip, and then lowering down. Nothing else is moving in your body. Good. And then float it up, and back down. 2 more. Activating to the back of that right leg. Last one, leave that leg lifted. You're gonna bend your elbows back by your sides, lift your leg as you lower your torso, and then press up, find that nice long line. So you're gonna start in one long liner with your leg slightly below your hip, and then bend at the elbows, lift the hip, and press up. 2 more. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Last one, and then come all the way up, bring that right knee underneath you, and extend your left leg back behind you, float that leg up, and then reaching nice and long through that leg, lower it down, and then lengthen through the front of the hip to open. Ribs are connected towards your hips. And then notice if you wanna let your stomach fall towards the floor, to lift your leg a little bit higher. Your range of motion may be different from one side to the other. 2 more. Last one, keep it lifted, and then bend the elbows back, lower the torso, lift the leg, and then press up. 3 more just like this, finding length from the crown of your head to your toe, and down. 1 more. And lower that leg down. And then curl your toes under, press your hips up towards the ceiling. Into a down dog, you can have your knees bent, whatever feels good. And you're just gonna bend one knee and straighten, pressing through the heels, stretching out the calves a little bit, moving your ankles, and then bend the knees a lot. Walk your hands back towards your feet, and then grab onto opposite arm, opposite elbow. Feel your ribs and hips draw towards one another so you're really rounded through the low back, not just the upper back. And gently rock from one side to the other. Here. Thinking about reaching your sitting bones back behind you. 1 more time to each side. And to the left. Last one over to the right, and then find your nice squared off position. Hips are even, like you're resting against a wall. You're gonna bend your knees a tiny bit more, and then draw your ribs towards your hips and let your arms and head be heavy. Peel yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time. Stack your shoulders on top of your spine, and then straighten your legs at the top. Come more or less towards the center of your mat. You want a little space in front and behind you. And just bring your hands onto your hips and let your knees be soft. So you want to make sure that you're not hyperextended and your knees are back behind your hips. Open or lift your toes and then open them as wide as you can, and then press them down into the floor. With nice soft knees, you're going to have your hands on your hips so you can make sure that your hips are nice and square. So look down at your hands to start. You're going to shift your weight a little over into your left leg, and then you're going to lift the toes, and then you're going to bring that right leg up in line with your knee. Try not to bring it above, but just in line, keeping those hips nice and square, and then you're gonna lower it back down. You can tap the toe in front of you or keep your leg lifted the whole time. Lift and lower down. And then again, find that connection between your ribs and hips. Your arms can be down by your side or lifted on your hips, your choice. 2 more. Last one, pause here. Bring your knee back, or your heel back towards your glute. And then you're gonna hinge around that left foot. Keep that knee nice and soft until you're thigh to thigh, and then your upper body is at an angle forward. And you're gonna extend back through that right leg, opening up through the back of the knee, and then bend that knee in all the way like you're bringing it towards your chest. Keeping your connection between your ribs and your hips, you're gonna extend that leg long. Feel it activate through the whole back of your leg and bring it back in. 3 more. Neck is long. 2. Last one. Now you're gonna bring that leg up, bring your torso upright so your spine is stacked nice and tall. And then you're gonna bend with your left leg now. Press it back behind you and come all the way back. So you're bending through the left leg and then bend through the right to bring it back up to tabletop. Tap. And lift. 3 more. 2. Last one. And bring it all the way up. Now just holding here, find your balance, and then open your leg out to the side, keeping that knee at the same height, and then resist to bring it back in. Keeping your hips nice and square, open it out to the side, resist back in. And think that you have a little pull from the crown of your head all the way down into the ground, so you're staying nice and still. 2 more. Last one. And then lower that leg down, shake your feet out, and then switching sides. So to start squaring yourself up, place a little bit of extra weight into that right leg and then hinge at the hip, bring that left leg up, and then lower that leg down and bend and lift. And think about sending your left sitting bone down, almost, not the hip, but just the sitting bone as you lift. So you're getting that widening through the pelvis. To help use your hip flexor, but really recruit your abs a bit more. 2 more. Last one. Keep your leg lifted. Bring your heel towards your butt and then bring your thighs in line with one another. Soften the right leg and then pitch your body forward so that you're all still in one long line in your spine. And then you're gonna extend that left leg back behind you and then bend it in towards your chest. And then extend it back, open through the front of the leg. Focus more on the front of the leg rather than the low back. So you may find you need to lower your leg to do so. And also bring a hand onto your low back for a little feedback. 2 more. Ribs are connected towards your hips in the front. Last one. And then bring that leg all the way up. You can place it down and shake your feet out if you need. Left leg comes up, right leg bends, and now you're gonna tap your right leg back and then bring it up. So you're bending the right leg, reaching back with the left, and then coming up with the left leg. Hands can be wide, holding on to something. 2 more. Last one. Pause with that leg at the top, put it down if you need. And then again, hinge at the hip, fold until that leg is at a 90-degree angle, and then open it up to the side, and then resist to bring it back in. And think about sending your inner thigh in and up towards your pelvis, engaging your pelvic floor as you bring that leg in, your shoulders are relaxed, and your neck is just floating on top of your spine. 2 more. Last one. And then lower that down, shake your legs out. Bring your feet nice and wide, or about as wide as your shoulders, a little bit wider. And then you're just gonna bring your right leg long so that your toes are nice and long. And you're gonna sit back into that left leg, and you're gonna lift your right leg up and then tap it down, shift your weight over to the right side, toes face forward, lift the left leg, plant it, switch sides. And lift. So you're staying nice and low. And thinking about using those muscles on the outside of your glutes to help lift that leg. Your inner thigh is also lifting the leg and supporting through your knee. 2 more. Last one to each side. and lift. Lower that leg down, stand all the way up, come back to the back of your mat, lift your arms up, and then round down over your legs. Keep your knees nice and soft, and then bring your hands onto your shins, lengthen your spine, draw your sitting bones back away from the crown of your head, and then round all the way forward, walk yourself out into a little plank, and then drop your knees and come over onto your left hip. And you're gonna plant your shoulder on the ground, keeping your knees bent in front of you at a 45-degree angle. Heels are in line with your butt, your body is lifted. And you're just gonna lift your top leg open towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna keep your knees together, lift your foot. So clamshell open towards the top, towards the ceiling, feet stay together. And then now knees stay together and you're lifting your foot. And then open up towards the ceiling, lower down. You get that little weird internal rotation. The foot may not lift very high, that's fine. Abdominals are still engaged, supporting your torso, and also keeping your hips still. One more time. And then lift that leg, the whole leg, and keep it in this 45 to 90 degree angle shape. And then you're just gonna press back behind you to open up through the front of the thigh and engage through the back of the leg, and then bend to bring it forward. You can bring your top hand onto your glute, and you can feel that as you bring your leg forward, your butt kind of drops back into that hand. And that will help you keep your hips nice and square, and also really move through both the back of the leg and then hinge at the hip to bring the leg forward. 2 more. Last one. Whole leg is lifted. Tap it almost all the way until it reaches the leg, and then lift it back up. Tap it down almost all the way and lift. Keeping the knee and the foot at the same height. Shoulders are relaxed, both of them. Neck is nice and long. You can also look down at your mat if looking ahead is uncomfortable. 3 more. 2. Last one. Good. And then bring your leg forward, bring it up, back, around for a circle. We're gonna do 4 in each direction, keeping the torso still, kind of combining all the moves. And then reverse, press it back, lift it up. You get a little bit of that in an internal and external rotation. 2 more. Last one. Lower that leg down and then roll over onto your back before we switch to the other side. Hold on to your legs behind the thigh and then roll back. Bring the legs with you. Keep your shoulders and head and neck off of the floor. Press your thighs into your hands. Feel your low back press into the floor. Your shoulders are relaxed. And then draw your hips towards your ribs. And then from here, bring your hands onto the front of your thighs. And you're gonna press your hands into your thighs and your thighs into your hands. My voice is shaking. And hold while you breathe for 3, 2, last one. And then lower your right leg, or left leg rather. Leave the right leg where it is and then lower your head, neck, and shoulders down. You're gonna extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. Find your scoop position so your low back is pressing into the floor. Your ribs and hips are drawing towards one another in the front, and then your ribs are also knitting in towards one another. You're gonna lengthen through the leg to lower it down, and then bring it back up. And then lower down, and lift. Same thing like we've been doing in various other positions, but really think about that hip dropping back into the floor as you lift the leg. The leg doesn't need to be straight or perfect. Having the collarbone nice and wide. 2 more. Last one. Bend the knee, bring it back into tabletop. Extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna extend the arm, extend the leg, and then bring it back into the center. And then extend the arm, extend the leg. And again, low back here is pressing into the mat. Feeling that connection in the front of your body. And your back ribs are on the floor as well. 3 more. You can make this more challenging by bringing your other leg into tabletop and your other arm up towards the ceiling as well. But I'm gonna stay right here. Last one, lower down. And then extend the left leg long. Collarbone is open, lift and lower. Think about getting a little hamstring stretch as you lift and then opening through the front of that hip as you lower. If you find that you're changing the position of your back as you lift and lower your leg, shorten your range of motion. 3 more. 2. Last one. And then lift that leg, bend it into tabletop, extend the right leg or right arm long overhead, keeping the arm straight, extend it overhead, leg straightens, and then bend and bring it back up. And then extend and bring it back. Ribs stay into the floor, your shoulder is staying connected, and your arm is really moving off your back rather than from the hand, so it's controlled from your trunk. 3 more. 2. Are your hips even on the mat? Last one. And then planting the feet down, lift the hands both up towards the ceiling. Press down, nod the chin, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Come into a neutral position so you have a little bit of space behind your low back. Extend through the fingers, but not pressing down with your shoulders. Just find a neutral position for them. And then slowly lower all the way down, lift the arms back up. Press the arms, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. And then feel a little bit of length as you lower back down. Back ribs still stay on the mat. And then press and lift. And back down. 3 more. 2. Gaze follows your fingertips, or even better, your nose. This way you're not looking up overhead. Last time, you're gonna stay up. Bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers, support your head with your hands. If you have a towel and you'd rather use that, by all means. And then bring your right leg into tabletop, and then bring your left leg to meet it. You're gonna extend your right leg long, and then bring it back in, and extend your left leg long, and bring it back in. I'm in neutral here, but you can also press your low back into the floor. And then don't worry about your legs going low towards the ground. You want to think about opening up through the back of the leg and keeping control through the torso. That's much more important. Back ribs are pressing into the mat regardless of your low back positioning. 1 more time to each side. And then bring your knees in towards your chest and rock back and forth from one side to the other in a little ball. Grab on behind the thighs and then rock yourself up. And you're gonna come onto your other side now. So right shoulder is right above your elbow. Knees are bent at a 45-degree angle, and we're just gonna start with those alternating clamshells. So lifting the top knee and then lifting the top foot. So knees open, feet stay together, and then foot opens, knees stay together. Again, you're relaxed through the shoulders, your collarbone is nice and wide, and you're connected through the front of your body. My dog can look Not the lifting of my foot, I got distracted. Lift your foot, lift your knee. 2 more. Make sure you're really pressing with that right arm. You can be in a fist if you find that that's more comfortable, or have that hand flat on the ground. Lift that foot, and then lift the whole leg. Keeping the shape of that leg, you're gonna engage through the back of the leg. Think that you're squeezing a little stick between your hamstring and your glute, but your back stays completely still. Open up through the front of the hip, and then hinge at the hip, bring the leg forward. And then pressing back. And then forward. And back. And forward. 4 more. Keep pressing that right leg down. It should be nice and still. Only the left leg moves. If you find that that leg wants to creep up, just make your range of motion a little smaller. Last one. Good. Bring your leg back so that they're stacked one on top of the other. Lower it down almost until it reaches that bottom leg, and then lift. And again, your knee and hip are raising at the knee and foot, are raising at the same level for 6, 5, 4 more. Ribs are drawing towards your hips. Press away from the floor. Neck is long. 3, 2. Last one, keep it lifted. Press back, come up and around. I said 4 circles in each direction. We ended up doing 5. 2 more. Keeping that back nice and still. Last one. And then reverse. So bring it forward, up, back, and down. 3, 2, and last one. And then lower that leg down and come to sit with your feet towards the front of your mat. Actually, I'm gonna sit cross-legged, but you can sit whatever way is comfortable. Bring your hands behind your head, and then actually first move the meat out from underneath your sitting bones. And then sitting up nice and tall, your legs can be straight in front of you, bent, whatever works. Sitting up nice and tall. And then use your hands to kind of hold on to the base of your skull and find a little bit more length. And then when you do that, make sure that you're not jutting your chest forward. So find that length. And then you're gonna extend your arms wide out to the side to a little T. You're gonna rotate your palms up towards the ceiling. And keeping your torso where it is, you're just gonna think about lengthening your arms from the chest out towards the fingertips, not the other way around, to bring your thumbs back. Shoulder blades are gonna come towards one another, ribs stay connected, and then release and bring your arms forward. And then they can come and cross in front of you. And then reaching from the chest all the way out towards the fingers, the thumbs, your ribs stay connected towards your hips, open through the front of your chest, and then come forward one more time. We're gonna do that again. Get nice and tall again. Think about lifting from the base of your skull. Getting a great stretch through my hands, my forearms, and everything. And then I'm going to rotate my palms down, and I'm just gonna twist over towards the right and give it 2 little pulses, and then come back to the center. And then twist to the left, pulse, pulse, back to the center. My arms are staying at a little T, and my chest is just following in between. And just notice if you feel any tightness on one side. For me, I have it between my shoulder blade and my spine on the left side, but not the right. No idea why. Last one to the left. Okay. Bring your arms now straight in front of you. You can keep your leg positioning or change it to your legs being out extended in front of you, whichever one you want. I'm gonna glue my sitting bones down into the floor, and I'm gonna pretend that I'm leaning against a wall. And I'm gonna nod my chin, peel my head away from the wall. Then I'm gonna round forward, up and over a ball, keeping my arms at the same height. My ears are gonna come in between my biceps. My low back stays pressing back towards that wall. And then I'm gonna stack my spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. So spine stretch forward, reach your spine back as you round up and over. Sounds a little counterintuitive, but only your upper spine is supposed to be moving. And one more time. Like you're sliding your arms forward onto a desk or something. And then lower your arms down, shake them out. Mine are now nice and tired. Now I'm gonna plant my feet out in front of me, grabbing on behind my thighs, sitting up nice and tall, and then creating space in the front of my hips. So I'm gonna curl my tailbone under, press into my feet. So my feet are pressing away, and I'm gonna use that to help curl myself under. And then find that space. So I'm off my sitting bones. I'm gonna think about them drawing up the back of my thighs. And then I'm gonna think about creating space to put my sacrum down first. So my head is still up nice and tall. And then I'm gonna stay right here. I can grab behind my thighs or keep my arms out in front, your choice. And you're just gonna deepen that little scoop by bringing the ribs up towards the hips. And then I'm gonna release it and come forward. And then curl the ribs to hips and then release it a little. And then curl it under and release. And your head, the height of your head isn't really changing all that much. Just trying to open up through the low back. Give a little bit of space there. 2 more. Last one. Stay here. Lift your arms off your thighs, and then you're gonna twist over to the right, and you're gonna come back an inch on the right, and then up an inch, and then back an inch, and up. Same thing, just on an angle now. Really thinking about finding that length through the pelvis. Maybe a tiny bit more now on the right side than the left with the rotation. 2 more. Ribs are still drawing towards your hips. Last one, pause in the center, over to the left, really rotating through the ribs, not through the hips. So your legs and knees won't have moved. And then just doing these little pulses. Again, here. 3 more, no, 5 more, sorry, can't count. 3, shoulders are relaxed, arms are strong though. 3, 2, last one, come to the center, and then roll all the way down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Extend your legs, and then link your thumbs, and then reach all the way overhead. Point your toes, flex your feet, whatever feels good. Get a full body stretch. Don't worry about what's touching the floor and what's not. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. Grab on behind the thighs. Bring your heels towards your butt, and then draw your knees in towards your chest and rock yourself up. And then make sure you have a little bit of space behind you. We're gonna do rolling like a ball. So you can grab onto the front of your shins. Your feet can be in parallel or heels together, toes apart with your legs externally rotated. And then you're going to start sitting up nice and tall. Find that spot where you can lift your feet up off the ground and then curl back but still hover. And then you're gonna think about what we just did, drawing your ribs towards your hips, creating that space and rounding through the sacrum as you roll back, and then pause. Ooh, at the top, too much momentum for me there. And then roll back, and up and pause. Use your breath to help control you as you go up and down. You're not rolling onto your neck or head, just the shoulder blades. 2 more. Round through the low back. Last one. Pause at the top. Keep yourself in this little ball, roll back. Pause here. Bring your right knee into your chest. Left leg extends, and then switch. Head, neck, and shoulders are lifted off of the mat. If you need, you can lower them down. You can also do this with your hands behind your head if you prefer. 2 more to each side. Really focusing on finding length through the front and back of that leg. Once more to each side. And then lift both legs towards the ceiling, grab onto the right, reach long through the left leg, grab onto the right, pull the right in towards your chest, and then switch sides. And switch. And really think about getting length through both legs, not just the one that you're giving a little pull to. Again, lengthening in opposition to the back leg on one leg, to the front on the other. Last one. Knees in towards your chest and lower down. Rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then plant your feet about as wide as your mat. Bring your hands wide out to the side, and then turn your palms up towards the ceiling, and you're just gonna windshield wiper your legs. One more time to each side. And then plant your feet on the mat. If you'd like, leave your hands out wide to the side with your palms turned up towards the ceiling for a little bit more space through the chest. If you need more support, bring your hands by your side, palms down to press through your whole arm. We're gonna do a little bit of bridging. So lift your toes up and then press them down, spread through all your toes on the ground like we did when we were standing. And then start in a neutral pelvis. Give yourself a little bit of space so that your heels aren't all the way up by your butt. And then press your low back into the mat. Use your feet to help guide your pelvis and get it starting to move. Draw your hips towards your ribs so much that your low back starts to peel off the floor. And then you're gonna peel all the way up until just the tips of your shoulder blades wanna lift, but try to keep them down. And then you're gonna tuck your tailbone under. Really think about opening through the front of those legs. Imagine that you're holding onto a little ball with your inner thighs, but like all the way up by your pelvis, so your inner thighs are working, as well as your pelvic floor. Think about drawing your heels up towards your butt. Now you're gonna pretend that someone's standing on the other side of you, looking at you, holding the legs from behind, like right where your calf meets your knee. And they're pulling in opposition. And as they pull, you're gonna start to peel your spine down. So keep thinking about reaching long through the knees towards the wall in front of you as you peel down one vertebrae at a time, helping to create a little bit extra length. And then lengthen through the low back. And we're gonna do that again, curl through the low back. And just notice how much easier your spine may move now than it did on the first one. Heels drop towards your shoulders, engaging through the backs of your legs. Hips are open, shoulders are relaxed, collarbone open, and then again, same thing. Think about reaching the knees long through the thighs as you start to articulate your spine down one vertebrae at a time. And then lengthen all the way down to the floor. One more time. And try to move with your breath. And then this time peel all the way back down, one vertebrae at a time. And then pause when your rib cage is on the ground, but your hips are not. And then you're gonna come into neutral pelvis. And then you're gonna tuck under and stretch through the low back. And then come into neutral pelvis and around. So think about moving your pelvis around your femurs. So your feet have to do a little bit of work here as well. Hamstrings, 3 more. 2. Good. Curl the tailbone under. Lift back up into a bridge one last time. Feel like you have that sensation pulling your thighs in opposition away from you when you curl down. Take a nice big exhale and then start to peel down one vertebrae at a time, finding that space as you lower every vertebrae to the floor. And then lower all the way down. Extend your legs long. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Press down through the arms. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders up. And then reach through the fingertips as you roll yourself up, just like you did a minute ago, but in a different position, over your legs. Get a nice stretch here, and then stack your spine up nice and tall. And then plant your feet. Sorry, not your feet. You're gonna plant your forearms on the floor. And you're gonna think about pressing your chest to lift it up. Find the connection between your ribs and your hips. If you need, you can curl your tailbone under, and then you're gonna find the lift of both legs. If this is comfortable to do this in neutral, go ahead. And if this is too much with your legs lifted, you can do this with your feet on the ground. So the full thing is glue your legs together. Don't let yourself sink, press up, and you're gonna let your legs fall over to one side, lifting the hip, but the ribs stay square, more or less, and then come back through the center and over to the other side. Really focusing on twisting and rotating through the torso. If you look down at your shirt, you should see the bottom pulling away and the rest of it around your rib cage staying still, or starting to pull over towards that opposite side. And if you're not doing the whole thing, you're just letting your feet on the ground and then rolling from one side to the other. 1 foot will lift. We're gonna do 2 more to each side. 1 more, actually. And then pause in the center. If this is too much for you to have both legs lifted, you're gonna lower one leg down. Either way, you're gonna extend one leg. You're gonna lower it down towards the floor. Sweep the floor with your toes and then lift it back up and then sweep it back down. So you're getting a full range of motion through that right leg. Your left leg is gonna stay still. 1 more time with this single leg bicycle. And then pause at the top. So you're gonna extend your left leg now, lower it down, sweep it back. And this is what it looks like if you're taking the modification. That right leg is just planed on the floor. Really get that stretch through the hip on the right side, or left side rather. as you lower. Last one. If you have your feet up, you're going to reverse. So the right leg is going to push out with the toes, lift, bend, and press up. 2 more. Again, staying lifted through the chest. Really focusing on moving kind of every piece of your body independently. And then pause, and then switch sides. That right leg stays still. Keeping your chest lifted. 2 more. Last one. Lower the legs down, and then let them fall wide out to the side. Bring your feet together, and then lower yourself down onto the floor. Bring your hands behind your head. Think about grabbing onto the base of your spine, almost with base of your skull. With your thumbs, find that little bit of extra length like we did sitting up. And now you're gonna keep your legs as relaxed as possible, and you're gonna slide your ribs towards your hips and just curl up. So you're in a neutral spine. If this is too much on your low back, you can extend your legs long or plant them on the floor. But just try to use your legs as a bit of feedback on how well you're isolating through the torso. 3 more. Think about drawing your inner, your inner thighs. Your legs are active here. They're not just like hanging out doing nothing. 2 more. Your pelvic floor is drawing in and up. Last one. Pause here at the top. Bring your legs back to the top so their feet are planted on the floor, and then you're gonna let your right leg fall out to the side, and then bring it back up to the center. Stay on that right side. Keep your torso lifted if it's comfortable. Really focus on keeping that hip on the left side square so that it's not starting, the weight isn't going all the way into your right leg. You can use your hands to help you, whatever you need. 1 more time on this side. Back to the center, and then now your left leg is gonna open out to the side. I'm gonna use my hand on my right hip to help remind my body that that right side isn't supposed to go anywhere. 2 more. 3 more, sorry. I lied. Keep sliding your ribs towards your hips. Last one. Keep your torso lifted. Grab on behind your right thigh, and then your left. Press your thighs into your hands into your thighs. You're gonna rock yourself up. Pause at the top. Thinking about lifting up your torso, creating a nice long line through your torso, your spine, and then extend one leg and extend the other. And today my legs don't want to go straight, that's fine. And then I'm going to release my arms out in front of me into a little teaser. Maybe I can straighten my legs now. And then I'm going to lower my legs down, bring my body forward over my legs. Take a nice stretch here. And then bring your hands onto the mat, coming into all fours. And then bring your right foot back behind you, your left foot back behind you. Press yourself up into a downward dog. And then walk your hands back by your feet. And then bring your hands to your hips. Find that nice long line. You can also press your hands into your shins if you prefer. Your neck is nice and long in opposition from your sitting bones. You are going to press your hips forward, stand all the way up, and then hinge at the hip, knees stay soft, hinge forward, getting that stretch through the back of your hamstrings, and back up. We're gonna do this 4 more times. Really stretching through the back of the legs. 2 more. Connecting the ribs and the hips in the front. Last one, stay here. Round forward by reaching through the ribs, reaching through the back, and then the crown of your head down towards the floor, but your knees are still nice and soft. Draw your ribs towards your hips. Peel your abdominals away from your thighs and start to round through the low back, lengthening, Stacking your spine one vertebrae at a time. Bring your arms up overhead. Link your thumbs, and then reach up and over to the left. Really reach down through that right leg. And then think about separating the shoulders slightly and then separating the ribs away from one another by using your breath. And then come back up to the top and over to the left. Same thing. Try to think about creating space in between your ribs. Left foot is really rooted into the ground, but you're not collapsing on that right side either. And then lift all the way up. Externally rotate your arms and then press your arms down. Grow your spine a little bit taller. Pause with your arms out at a T. Lift up onto your toes. And then think that someone is holding your head here. And lower your heels down slowly as you lower your arms by your sides. And you are all